Happy Thursday, and welcome to another episode of Caffeinated Coverage Talk with Todd and Michelle, where, cheers, my friends, coffee is
Yes.
king. Absolutely. Love it, love it. I am your co-host, Michelle Berndt, president and partner,
I'm Todd Hall, CEO and founder.
and our dear friend, Mr.
Mhm.
Monte Holm, is on the call today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be with you both. Thanks for the invite.
Yes. I was just telling Monty that we are in the middle of reading his book. I just got through chapter 5 tonight, and this is good stuff. We're going to dive into this today. But before we do, Monty, we always like to talk coffee because it fuels us. Are you a coffee drinker?
I am actually not a coffee drinker, but I do have some Diet Coke with some caffeine in it right here.
I
Okay.
love it.
But
I love
I've
it.
never been a coffee drinker,
Really,
but
not even in college or anything.
no, I've just never drank coffee and it's never been a priority in my world. So, but I
Wow.
but I do like some caffeine here and there. So
Oh,
that's
100%. Now, does your
important.
wife drink coffee?
No, she doesn't either.
Wow. I bet you guys are
My brother,
super healthy.
they are.
We want to be.
My brother-in-law is not a coffee drinker. He's never had a sip of coffee in his entire life. He's my best
Wow.
friend growing up when we were little. And then my little sister, he ended up, typically you don't want your best friend marrying your little sister, but
Uh-uh.
but he's an exception to the rule. He's an
And
incredible
he did.
guy. He did. They
Yeah.
started dating when she was 14. He was 17. But yeah, he never had coffee. Now, it's myself. I always tease around. I only drink it on two occasions, Monty, day and night. I know I can. That's another. It's like
Jeez.
Well, it's certainly common out there, and so it keeps people going. So that's a
It
good
does.
thing.
I think it's more
Mhm.
a habit than anything. For me, it's just
Agreed.
a comfort zone. I love the warmth and the smell, probably more than anything.
Yeah.
Agreed. Same here. Because I'll fill up a cup of coffee, and I probably drink about 3 cups a day on average. But if you see me, if it's morning, noon, or I try to cap it off late afternoon now because it will keep me up. But it's the same cup of coffee I've had for 2 hours. I have to go microwave it and heat it up. So it's like it's
Yeah.
it's comfort. So I just hold it. Yes.
Yes. Amen. Well, we know how busy you are, so let's dive in, but we can't thank you enough. Todd's known you many years, but as I've gotten to know you, I'm just so impressed with not only you, Monty, but what you've built, your staff. We're going to talk about it a little bit later in the podcast, but we went to your conference just last week and we had a new employee there. And the first thing out of her mouth, and I have it sitting right here, when we got the folder, you had a code of conduct and ethics in there. And she was blown away by that an agency puts that first. And I said, yeah, that's how they operate. And, I had the pleasure of finally meeting you in person and your beautiful wife, which I told Todd she needs to be a first lady. You need to run for president.
We actually talked about that at the
We
conference.
did.
Yeah,
I said, oh my
or
goodness.
senator. I could see you being the senator of Utah, Monty. I really could.
Yes.
Well, odds of that are slim to none. It's,
But just impressed with everything. So let's
thank
go
you.
ahead and dive in. So I'm in the middle of reading your book. It is called Expect to Win. And when your story is just absolutely stunning and inspiring.
Thanks.
I read it on the airplane and I had to read it twice. I'm like, no way. Because, when you see someone that's extremely successful and blessed, you forget what they had to go through to get there. So, can you kind of just summarize, where you went to poverty to a millionaire by the age of 25?
Well, I was raised in a big family that with lots of struggles, lots of financial challenges, and ran away from home when I was 14. My dad passed away actually when I was 14, and
Mm.
ran away to a few places. And then when I was 16, I lived on my own from then on in this little city that I now live in, my favorite city in the world, little St. George, Utah. And I just began to make some good decisions and met some great friends that helped me make good decisions. And my life's never been about money. It's been about just building and living a good life. and I was taught some good principles in my youth growing up. And when I met my sweetheart years later, my wife, Lisa, by the way, thank you for saying she'd make a good first lady.
She really would.
She'd make a good first lady and a good president of something.
She
But
would.
Hmm.
so I don't think there's any chance of us running for anything though, by the way. But
Wink, wink.
she helped bring strength and integrity into my family, and who we hang with, who are our best friends. That's like a neon sign that tells the world where we stand, tells the world who we are or who we want to become. And so we ought to always look at our closest friends and strive to make sure that they're lifting us and helping us be better. That's
Mm,
what my wife's done for me. But we set some goals together early on. And one of the goals was, and it wasn't about the money, it was about financial freedom. So we did set a goal that I wanted to be a millionaire. It was my goal, and then she adopted it too, that I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I turned 26 years old. So a 25-year-old millionaire. And really all that meant is that I wanted the financial freedom. Financial independence to me means that you have a substantial income that would continue regardless of what you personally do.
mm,
And
yeah.
I didn't have $1 million accumulated, but I had a business that the way I looked at it back then, Michelle, to answer your question, is I looked at it as though if I build a business that throws off the same income to me consistently that $1 million would if it were sitting in the bank, I wouldn't necessarily be a millionaire, but I would be a millionaire equivalency.
Yeah.
And I blew that out of the water. And I had a business that threw off that revenue stream to me. I've found that most people don't really expect to win.
Mm,
They and the thesis of that whole book, and really the reason it was written, is out of frustration. I in with me personally and all the people I was working with during those early years of my career, I just found that most don't expect to win.
which is
Deep down in
sad.
their, it's sad. Deep down in their psyche, I'm convinced that most people hope to win, but deep in their psyche, they expect to fail and hope to surprise themselves and win. And if they did win, it would be a surprise to them. So I just have believed for a long, long time that we have to learn how to get our expectations where they need to be. And setting goals and planning helps create that expectation.
Yeah, I want to repeat something you said. And just last week on stage, I said this at your conference. You are who you hang around. And you chose to surround yourself by people that may at the time been smarter than you and more, inspiring. And look where it got you. And that is how we partnered with AOG, which we'll talk about later. But when Todd and I were like, "Do we do this? Do we not?" And we're like, "They are good people, and that is what we want to be part of." And that's why we said
Amen.
yes. Yeah.
Amen. Hmm.
And I'm glad you said yes.
Well, your wife Lisa said no one says no to Monty, so it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
she did say that
true.
on stage, but that we're blessed. We said yes, and the analogy Monty you used on residual income with like having money in the bank. We actually at the conference, I pulled it up on my phone. I showed Michelle that I have this chart that says if you want $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month, this is how much you would have to have in the bank earning 5%. And it's pretty eye-popping of how much you'd have to have in the bank to get $20,000 a month of
Yeah.
residual income. But we did a training on this. We probably need to do this again. Can you get $2 million of income in the bank? How quick can you get that? Or can you build residual income? You can build
Mm,
it a lot faster than
Right.
you can the income. We did some trainings on that years ago. So that's a fantastic analogy. But Monty, I know in your book, you have two quotes that kind of really that stick out to me, and I want to tell you is one is if it is to be, it's up to me, and the other one is I am not a quitter, I am a finisher. And how as you were building your business, your financial empire, it is because I know what you built through the years, and it's unbelievably impressive of what you've put together through the years in the businesses. But how did you stay focused and positive and throughout the years?
Well, thank you. When I got licensed in the business, it was end of January of that year that I had made the decision I'm going to get in this industry. I filled out some paperwork and I bought a life insurance plan, I bought a mutual fund plan, and I got into the industry and started working toward my licensing. And I ended up not getting licensed until April of that year. But between January and April, when I got licensed, the guy that had recruited me and promised to help me, he quit. He quit on me. He called me
Mm.
one day and said, I've been thinking, and I don't know that this is a good industry for me. I'm going to go back into the furniture business. And he became a furniture salesman. And it just broke my heart. I mean, I've told people, please don't stab me, but you could have stabbed me and it would have felt better than it felt when that guy quit on me. It's
Mhm.
not fun when people quit on you, but that's when I went on a long walk and I came home from that walk and I wrote down that message to myself. I'm not a quitter. I'm a finisher. I'm a finisher. I'm a finisher. And I vowed that I'm not going to quit. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to go do what I need to do. And I'm going to never do to others what I felt like that guy did to me. And that is quit on them when I've promised them that I'll help them succeed. And so that helped me stay focused, and I chose not to judge him. I chose not to be too frustrated, but I was left alone in the kind of alone in the wilderness. The guy that he reported to that was going to help him was 1,000 miles away or so, and so I just all of a sudden didn't have any help, and so
Wow.
that's when I developed that motto, Todd, that I'm not a quitter, I'm a finisher, I'm a finisher. And I've never really had anybody give me anything. I mean, I did develop the mentality that if it is to be, it is up to me. I mean, I have to accept the responsibility. All of us do. I mean, we have to accept the responsibility for how our life's going. We have to accept the responsibility for the income we want to make, and we need to plan it out, and then we need to go execute. And so if I've got to do it by myself, I don't want to do it by myself, but if I have to, I'm going to. That's been my attitude my whole life. And so that's why I quote that in my book, and that's why I've tried to live by that throughout my life.
It's such a
Love
good
it.
quote. I saw a meme the other day on social media, and I hope I say it right, but it said something along the lines of, you can't be considered a quitter or a failure if you never, or failure if you never stop trying to begin with. And I
Right.
love that because you're
Hmm.
going to fail a million times in this industry. It's up and down and up and down. But if you just don't give up, you will succeed. I love that.
Amen.
That's good
Hmm.
Well,
stuff.
that's right. I mean, it's one of those things, and I said this at our conference last week, that you can't consistently do the wrong things and win at high levels, but you can't consistently do the right things and fail. And
Yes.
if we'll stay at it and keep working at it and get better and better, and it's not that the nature of what we do changes, but our ability to do it improves with practice, with persistence, and we just have to keep at it and accept that responsibility.
Yeah. My dad used to tell my brother and I in sports, there's one thing I do know for sure, and that's that throwing in the towel won't get you anywhere. He
Yeah,
used to say that
Hmm.
all the time.
exactly right. It's true.
Oh, one of the things I wrote down because I'm reading it personally, but I'm also reading it for InsurTech Hub. And one of the things I wrote down is, do we truly have an action plan? And I think everyone says they do. And I agree that many are great at setting goals and talking about them. And Todd and I do that literally daily. But why do you find it's difficult for most to create an actual plan and then execute it? They're two totally different things.
They are two totally different things. I actually grabbed for you today, I grabbed a file. It's an ugly, tattered file, but this is every set of goals that I've ever set in my lifetime. There's
How many
40,
years does it go back?
there's 40 files in there,
Wow.
and I've never allowed a year, and this is the honest truth, I've never allowed a new year to come in without having that new year planned out with specificity as to what I want to do. I think all of us we need to quantify, clarify and quantify our dreams. Then we need to turn those dreams into goals. And then we need to turn those goals into plans. And there's a big difference between all of them. I mean, all of us can dream, but to then turn the dreams into goals, that just means we put more parameters around them. We put deadline dates and other things, turning them into specific goals. But then turning them into plans is a big deal. And so the reason most don't do it is one is they don't know how, and or two is that they just have never been focused on specifics. And it's like building a house. I mean, our family has a pretty nice home today, but we had to dream about it, and then we set a goal and began to figure out the budgeting for it and all of that. But it was a big deal when we finally went to an architect and created the actual plans for it.
Yeah.
And if you
And laid
look
it
at
out.
the home that we live in today, it's amazing how closely our home resembles the plans for that home. And our
Mm,
lives are the same. I mean, if we would figure out who and what we want to be and not just have dreams and goals, but actually turn them into plans, that's really what this file is. I've tried to divide my life into four areas: my faith, my family, my finances, and my fitness. And I've tried to at least to some degree to be balanced there, but every single set of goals that you have in that file, all of them are divided into four areas, just trying to figure out what I want to do to improve
mhm.
my faith. And faith is a belief in things we've not yet seen. That's really what faith is. It's just simply a belief in something we haven't seen.
Yes.
I'm not talking about religious faith, but it includes religious faith. It's just
Yes.
a faith is a belief. It's being able to look into the future and believe that something big can happen, but then to turn them into goals and to keep that faith and rally your family around toward, those goals. That's really what I've tried to do in my lifetime. But I just think it's critical. And to answer your question, why don't most do it? It's been the greatest frustration of my life, honestly, in leadership, is trying to get my people, the people that I love and work with, to see what the possibilities are and to plan them out and then to read
The
them out,
vision.
Mhm.
to envision it, and then to read it out loud. I mean, this is a quote from the book from Napoleon Hill, that which we persist in placing in our minds will eventually seek reality in our lives. And that's why it's incumbent upon all of us to consistently place in our minds the things that we want to do and be. And we need to let that become dominant in us. I mean, what dominates your thinking is going to control the outcome of your life. And so, what
Mhm.
dominates us? A lot of us are dominated by problems and issues and vices. And, we get dominated by stuff. I mean, it can be politics or the news or negativity or financial issues or health issues. I mean, what dominates our thinking, but we can control what dominates our thinking by setting goals, by reading them out loud. That's the thing I've done most consistently in my life is set my goals and then turn them into plans and then read that plan out loud morning and night. It only takes a few minutes, but it's amazing how most won't do that.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, we just most won't do it. We won't take the 2 or 3 minutes or five to read what we want to do and be. And I
Well,
just,
people better listen up because you're proof it worked.
Amen
well,
to
I
that.
want
Mhm.
to, I'm still a work in progress, but I do believe with everything in me that it makes a difference. What we place in our minds and what we read and consistently focus on, that affects the outcome.
Yeah.
Mon- Monty, I already know the answer to this, but I know our audience does not. But in your book, you talk about how planning and visualizing your goals on a daily basis. Is that a habit you still do today? I kind of know the answer to that already, but it's because I see the fruits of your life, both personally and in business. Hmm.
I still do that today. I still focus. I'm somebody that doesn't go to bed at night ever without pre-planning my next day. I like to just plan it out, and I like to wake up in the morning knowing what my plans are. I actually took the time to review some things I wanted to I wanted to make sure we cover today. Excuse my voice here.
No,
But
you're
I
fine.
wanted to make sure, as I thought about all of my meetings, I've already had 2 meetings earlier this morning, and then this meeting with you, and I have a what I call a predetermined outcome that for each one of those meetings, I just like to envision that what I'm doing that day and
That's
all of
so
those
good.
meetings. If I have gaps in my schedule, I actually put in there the things the people I want to call, the things I want to follow up on. Most people misspell follow up. They spell it foul up because that
Hmm.
means they foul up by not following up. And I'm somebody that in those gaps in my schedule, I put a lot of follow-up items in there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There, I want to ask our listeners, we get these gut checks, I like to call them. And even for us, Todd, I ask that you guys truly think about, I'm sure everyone in January sat down with their team, created goals, maybe even did a chart, what do you call it, your vision board. But truly ask yourself right now, we are May 7th. When is the last time you went back to those goals? When is the last time you said, how far are we? We're already past quarter 1. Good grief. My kids are out of school in a couple of weeks already. That's the follow up is so, so true. I think everyone has great intentions, including us. We're a work in progress too. But when is the last time that you held yourself accountable in your team and said, where are we with the goals we set in January? And if you're like, shoot, we haven't done that, it's never too late. Sit down and do it right now. But
Hmm.
you got me really thinking about that. I'm like, man, we got some work to do, Todd. Come on, let's go.
We do.
Well, Michelle, it's just true that we all need to work on that. I mean, leadership, if you think about the word leadership and what does that mean? Leadership means that those within your stewardship, and it includes you, because you're within your own stewardship, but it includes you and everybody who works with you. Leadership means that everybody who works with me knows the goal and their role, and a leader is not is not as effective as they should be if everybody on the team doesn't know where they're at any given moment toward the goal. So,
Yeah,
like if I have a goal of making $100,000 this year, I ought to know every moment of the year where I'm at toward that goal,
yeah. Or you're not going to
whatever
get there.
whatever it may be.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so good. Let's talk about reverse engineering. When I first saw those two words, I'm like, ooh, this sounds too deep for me. But really, the thought process is quite simple. Will you tell us about that and how you used it during your journey from bottom to top?
Monty, before you start that, reverse engineering, he's pretty close to Area 51 where he lives at. So he's not too far from there. I know we're going down another path there. I'm sorry.
Have you been there? No.
I've not been there. I've flown over it a million times.
So
I
you know where it's located.
Oh,
know right
yeah.
where it's located. I mean, I haven't flown exactly over it because that's restricted airspace.
Right,
Right.
right.
But I've been in private aviation for many, many decades, several decades, and so when we
Hmm.
fly over the Nevada desert, we get vectored around that area, but we can look off to
Hmm.
the left if I'm going north and always know right where that's at. So
Oh
Hmm.
it's
my
interesting.
gosh.
Sorry, I got sidetracked, brother.
No, here's what that means to me, Michelle, to answer your question, or Todd. Reverse engineering just simply means that you begin with the end in mind
Mm.
and you back it up from there. I mean, if it's like a pipeline, I use that analogy in my book, that if you got to figure out what you want out of the out end of the pipeline, and then you reverse engineer so that you know exactly what you've got to do in the front end of the pipeline to get that end result to come out of the back end of the pipeline. And so it reverse engineering just means that I have a vision of what I want my life to look like, or what I want my income to look like, or what I want my marriage to look like, or my spiritual life, whatever it may be. I just figure out what I want it to look like, and then I've got to reverse engineer and make sure I'm doing the right things on the front end to get that end result. And that's what I've
Yes.
tried to do with my all of my planning, all of my preparation. It's sort of like I've probably got 50 sets of binoculars. I don't know. I've got lots of binocs,
For
but
Area 51. No.
so that when I'm flying over Area 51, I
Yes.
see it. I'm kidding, but I just like to look out into the future through my imaginary binoculars, at least, and try to envision what my life can look like. I'm not great at anything. I mean, people that are successful financially or successful in different areas, they're not necessarily perfect or even great. They're just human beings trying to figure it out and working, doing the best they can. The little things we do, though, makes a massive difference in our
Yes.
lives.
It's
Hmm.
the little
Massive.
You
things, they add up.
you are a
The
great human
little,
being, my friend.
the
Hmm.
little things make the big, 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 big difference. And it's the little things that we don't do, like the planning, like the preparation, like the reverse engineering, like those little things that take a little extra time. It's too easy in life to, as a human being, we get casual and lazy, and casual is the opposite of winning.
Yes.
Hmm.
There's,
I want to
there's,
show this. I don't know if anyone watching can see it, but
Hmm.
throughout the book, there are pipelines. So when you hear Monty talk pipeline, he's literally talking about a pipeline, the success pipeline. And there's one sentence I want to read out loud. What you put in determines what comes out. You
yeah,
control your pipeline, guys. And so I love this. You know, if you have a negative mindset and you're constantly down in the dumps, then negative things are going to come out. If you have a positive mindset, it could lead to happiness, prosperity, peace of mind. Aren't those great things we all want? And, you know,
Hmm.
Monty, not to get too personal, but this had me thinking about my pipeline when I went through stage 3 breast cancer. And I was 30 years old. And I remember the doctor said, you know, medicine can heal you, but it wouldn't have healed without your strong faith. And he goes, Michelle, I've never seen someone as positive as you. In fact, some people call me positive Patty because I live in clouds and rainbows. I'm not realistic sometimes. But I just believed I would live. I believed I would be strong. I believed I would get through it. What I put into my pipeline got me out on the other side alive and healthy and thriving.
yeah.
So,
I
Hmm.
love that.
yeah,
And
Hmm.
I'm
I just had to
glad
share that quote.
I did not know you went through that, Michelle. I'm
Hmm.
proud of you. And you are one of the, yeah, I mean, that's one of the first things I noticed when I met you by Zoom and have talked to you by phone a bunch of times. And then when we met last week live, it's just, you are the positive Patty. You are an
Oh, thank
incredible,
you.
positive human being, and it makes all the difference in the world.
Thank you. I get that from my dad, and he's going through cancer right now too. And my mom's
Hmm.
gone through it, all three of us, but I get it from them.
Actually, I
Well,
want to do a podcast with you on your journey through your breast cancer. I want to do that here in the near future. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I've been thinking we'll have to get somebody else and we'll ask you questions. We'll go through that with you.
Yeah.
But
that's right.
Monty, you've had an amazing career. You've built multiple successful companies through the years. One of those companies, Associate Owners Group, we just happen to be extremely blessed to be partnered with you right now. And with that, you're not, I know you've been so successful. You're not doing this for money or income. This is legacy driven for you. And that word legacy, what does that mean to you, and how is that being promoted through the AOG through our family of companies? It's maybe.
Well, thank you for asking. My wife and I have, not to aggrandize ourselves or to promote ourselves, but we've been very blessed, very, very fortunate, and we've been
Mhm.
financially independent for decades. We don't have any debt. This isn't about the money. I've done a deep dive analysis of my life in the
Mhm.
last couple of years and making just thinking about and trying to figure out and plan out what legacy I want to leave. And I feel like there's just some unfinished business. This to me is about unfinished business. This to me, AOG is about promises kept. And I've always felt that the ownership programs that exist in financial services are lacking. And I felt like that he and she who helps build a business deserve to own it. And I felt for a long, long time that the person who I mean, if I make a sale, if I help a family, and that family makes, and I do the right job for that family, and they're on a path to financial independence, then that's really what I need to make sure I'm doing is what's best for them. And yes, I get a commission, or yes, I get a fee, or some kind of a, if it's assets under management, maybe it's some kind of a residual on that. But that sale, that activity of helping that family creates a it triggers a whole bunch of other things. There's ripple effects from that sale. The insurance company, actually the insurance agency that agent was with and he makes the sale,
Right.
They never meet the customer. The product provider never meets the customer. The technology people never meet the customer. The reinsurance people, the Wall Street people, the private equity people, all the people that ride on the back of that salesperson, they never meet the customer, and yet they tend to make more money and more equity, more value is created for people beyond that person who really created the value. And so it's unfinished business to me. And my commitment is to create an ownership deal where our people can share in the ownership of the front end and the back end of everything they do. And
Yes.
the salesman, the financial planner is the hero. They're the hero that takes care of the family, and yet they get the least out of that deal potentially. And so we're just reversing that. It's just a passion of mine and a passion of our key leaders. I'm glad that you have joined this project of passion. And I hope my greatest wish for you is that this become an incredibly successful success story for you. A legacy is something we pass on. My
Yes.
legacy for my family, I hope it's far beyond just the money. I want it to be a legacy of leadership, a legacy of service, a legacy of honor and honesty, a legacy of, yes, financial responsibility, but but it's about a legacy, and I want to finish my career, finish my life out, giving back and helping my people get something that we've promised them over all these years. So that's what this is
Oh,
about.
so good. I've been
Mhm.
telling Todd at InsurTech Hub, we're all about people, purpose, and profit. It's on our website. We talk about it 24/7. Like it's our mantra. But I keep saying I want to add a fourth. This word legacy I got from you several months ago, and it's just really sticking with me. And I think part of it's because my kids are now 16 and 19. Things are getting real. They're getting older. Gracie's finishing her first year in college. Tristan just got his license, my baby boy. And I'm like, this is, we're starting to have conversations about what she's going to do for a career and how
Yeah.
she's going to make money and live on her own. And I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this. And every time I think about that, the word legacy pops up. And I've told Todd, he thinks big picture and future all the time, which is why he's successful. And I'm like, right now, my goal is to get both kids through college and have them owe nothing. I want to do that for them. That is my goal for both my children. So far, I'm doing it, but I'm only 1 year in.
Yeah.
But it's legacy, legacy, legacy. I almost think it should be people plus profit plus no, people, purpose, profit equals legacy, because that's what it does. Those three things equal the legacy.
I just think you made an executive decision. We're good. And I guess so it's like,
So be it.
Well,
It's done.
I love that, and you can do it. I mean, that which we make a priority, we can achieve. And I just
Yes.
love that you've defined that you're focused on it and teaching it to your kids. That's wonderful.
Yes, I'm trying. I'm trying. So we attended your conference last week, just got home from Orlando. There were 500 people. Man, the energy was contagious. One of the things that I noticed is I was very impressed with every speaker and how your staff is focused more on ethics and doing things right, even when people aren't watching, more than making money. You don't find that a lot in this industry, Monty. So, how have you been able to maintain that thought process with your teams over the years?
Well, I mean, there's no right ways to do wrong things. And my hope is, I mean, one of the things I love that Warren Buffett said to his group, he said, if you lose money, we will be patient and work through that. If you ruin our reputation, we will be ruthless. And our reputations, if you think about the word risk for a minute, there's risks in life. And think about if you were to define, I did this with a very successful man that's worth about a $500 million the other week, was in my office, very wealthy man, probably the wealthiest man in my greater area right here, comes into
Wow.
my office. He's a partner. He and I are partners on several things together and just love him and love his family. But we're sitting there talking about the things some of the challenges that he's faced and seen in his life. And so we wrote on the whiteboard the word risk. And we wrote financial risk, we wrote litigation risk, we wrote safety, and we list all these things that you can face of the risks you face in life.
Hmm.
But then I wrote the word reputational risk. And he said, he paused for a minute and with some emotion, he said, I can live with all the other risks, but I don't want to lose that one. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I feel. I mean, there's all kinds of risks, but reputation is everything. And you can do 1,000 things right and one thing wrong, and the thing that you'll remember most and others will is the thing you did wrong,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's intentional.
Right.
And making mistakes is one thing, but intentional doing things that shouldn't be done, taking advantage of customers, taking advantage of associates, being dishonest. Honesty is the only answer 100% of the time, no matter the consequences.
Yeah.
We're going to be accused. I mean, there's people that'll accuse you of dishonesty. They'll accuse you of not living by your agreements and commitments and other things, but they don't know. I mean, only you know. But and we want to have more than just self-governance. We've got to have corporate governance that helps us do things right. If we're going to potentially aim at an IPO, if we're going to do some big things, our reputation is everything. And so
Oh,
we just want to do it right, and that's our commitment.
yes. So before you
Love
ask
it.
the last question, Todd, I have one more gut check for our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
So Associate Owners Group has a code of ethics and standards of excellence right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage you to think about, if you own a team, do you have this? Todd and I even said, we need to implement this at InsurTech Hub. In the beginning, it was just Todd and I. We're a two-man show. We do things right. But as you build a team and, we're up to 8, 9, 10 employees, this stuff matters. It can make or break you. And so
Mm-hmm.
we even talked about how we need to do this. But that is my gut check. My last one for the listeners is, do you have a code of ethics and standards of excellence? Do you talk about this with your team? Todd always says, inspect what you expect. You can't do that if you don't know where you're starting. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for having this. And this was the first thing I saw at the conference.
Wonderful. Well, thank you.
I had a mentor told me years ago, he said, it's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat. So we're copying the right. Now it's like, so we may kind of use a lot of that code of ethics and put a few things in there, but it's
Please
like,
do. Well, you're part of AOG, so you own that.
that's
That's
true.
your
I,
code of ethics.
We own
I,
everything. No.
I love that. As you say, that ownership, back to the legacy and the equity part, and I know we're wrapping up, but if we ever get a chance, I got just one request, is if we get to ring the bell on the New York Stock Exchange, if I could, I don't care if we're on the end of the stage, you can't even see us, but if when you ring that gavel, that bell, whatever, I would love to be up there. That would just be absolutely outstanding. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to be mad at you if you're not there.
Okay. I
And
love it.
I don't know that I'll control all that, but
Right.
True, true.
I
If
we'll
just
we
see.
could
think it's
just
so
be in the
cool.
same city at the same time.
That would be amazing. That would be awesome. Monty, we could just talk to you forever. And I know we try to keep our podcast like an hour or less, but we could go on for hours. But as we're finishing up and wrapping up our episode with you, so we're very, very grateful, very blessed. What with your family and you and AOG, what do you have in store for the next couple of years, and that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I mean, my priorities are always they're the same. I mean, I mentioned them in that set of goals. They're always centered around my faith and around my family and around my business stuff. I mean, I've got a lot of business things happening in my life all the time with got staff that helps handle just the moving parts in all of that world. AOG is one of those business ventures that is taking, that's where my priority is now in that category. I don't ever want that to supersede. I don't want anything to supersede my faith and my family and our
Amen.
health and all those things. But financial independence, what it does is it blesses and serves your life. And it's not about the money, it's about the freedom that it gives you and the chance to be able to serve and lift and bless your family and others. So I'm going to continue to stay focused. My life's not changed all that much in three of those four areas. But on the third area, meaning my business, meaning the financial part of it, I've just rearranged my priorities to where AOG is my focus. It's my priority. And so I
Mhm.
plan to still travel with my family. We have incredibly fun things we do every week or two. We have family excursions. We've got a family bus. We get all of our grandkids on the bus and we go
What?
out on hikes and we go on little weekend excursions. And
Oh,
we have what we call a Success Society master class that we do with grandkids every other Sunday for an hour or so, where we just overlap our kids and with their kids. And we just have a blast talking to them about principles. Lisa, the other week, taught them, she taught our grandkids about what, she asked them, what does it mean to be a promise maker and a promise keeper? What does
Wow.
your life look like when that's who
love
you
that.
are? And
Hmm.
she just did some trends. So we have those kind of discussions with all the grandkids. And we're going to continue the legacy things we're doing with our children and our grandchildren. We all live with real near each other and we have some fun things there. We're going to continue to try to keep our priorities with honesty and honor and those kind of things. We're all a work in progress. I'm far from perfect. I'm just a human being. Actually, let me back up. There's no such thing as a human being. I'm a human becoming. We're all
Mm,
on a trajectory to become something, and I'm going to continue to work on me and continue to work on becoming what I'm capable of becoming. I'm going to continue to set my goals and continue to do those things. But my strong commitment business wise and with all of my teammates is to follow through and to see this through, this ownership deal. I want to see it through.
Hmm.
that is so great.
I, I believe with everything in me that we can. So that's what's in store for the next couple of years, Todd.
Yeah. How many kids do you
We
have
do
and
too.
grandkids?
We have six children. We have three boys and then three girls. I wanted a small family, and Lisa wanted a big family, and she won. And we have between those six children, we have 20 natural grandchildren and five adopted grandchildren, so 25. And
Oh my gosh.
so we've got
Christmas is
Hmm.
crazy.
Hmm.
it's a fun. We have a big family recreation center that we all gather in often, and Christmas is fun. All the holidays are a blast, and we just love being with our family.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was telling Todd
Love
I've
it.
never been to Utah. Always wanted to go to Zion National Park. So my bucket list is Zion and Monty's farm.
Hmm.
Well, they are exactly 45 minutes from each other.
Hmm.
So you are welcome, and let's get you out here. And you want to see Zion. Zion is absolutely
I've
spectacular.
heard. I've
So
Same
heard.
we
here.
look forward to
I,
having you out this way.
when I came there to visit last August, I just flew over it. I didn't get a chance to go see it, but that would be amazing. I've seen pictures, of course, but it'd be amazing to
Yeah.
go there in person. Hmm.
Wow. Well, Monty, thank you. We know how busy you
Yes.
are, but
Yes.
I think we have to take time to pause and do stuff like this because especially in this industry, it's just such go, go, go. You can get in that cookie cutter mold. And I need people to hear, even for myself, this was inspiring that you can start from the bottom and get to the top. People aren't, some are, and that's great. They're born into money, but most have had to go through so much to get there. Blood, sweat, and tears, we like to say. So it is
Hmm.
possible. You can fail several times and still get to the top. So thank you for sharing your story. I hope everyone gets your book, Expect to Win. And again, we are just so blessed with our partnership. So if you are listening, we at InsurTech Hub have three divisions. We have ITH Life, ITH Medicare, and ITH Health. And our ITH Life, as of now, there may be more in the future, is solely partnered with AOG. And so we're just so excited about that partnership and what's in store, including ownership.
Amen. Monty, thank you so very much. We're extremely blessed to be partners with you and even better to be friends with you. So we're grateful. So absolutely thank you so much.
Thank you. Same. Great to be with you and to all your listeners. I appreciate you listening today, and we wish you the very best in all that you do. And one of my hopes and wishes is that we can get those other two parts of InsurTech Hub, the AOG family here soon. So
I knew that was coming. You are a true businessman at heart. I love it. Well,
we'll
thank you
work on that.
everyone for listening, and we will
Love it.
see you on the next episode of Caffeinated Coverage Talk.
Love it. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.